Here we are. It's been so long. It's been way too long. It's been so many days. The last time I live streamed, it was with a girl. Yeah, I live stream with girls sometimes. Actually, maybe more than once, but I think just once I've live streamed with a girl. That was Ausfoy. That was last week, and now I'm just live streaming alone with this emoji hat that was sent to me by a fan. I did not buy this hat on my own. It was sent to me by a fan. And here I am. There's two live eyes. It's just me and you two. What are you guys doing? I'm just chatting because I have done so many interviews. I'm doing like 9 interviews in 7 days right now. I'm right in the middle of it. Hey, Bill Barry. Right in the middle of it. I'm devouring the brains of so many different people. I'm just like licking the tendrils of their thought links with my questionary tongue. And I'm receiving such a wide gamut of activity for my brain and yours to munch upon. So, oh yeah, okay. So a new video just came out called Brett Weinstein, Heather Heying, and the Evergreen Equity Council by Mike Nina. And he's the guy who's working with Bogosian, Lindsay, and Pluckrose, who are the 3 people who performed the Sokol Squared hoax, which they don't like calling it a hoax. They submitted a bunch of articles to these scholarly journals, articles which were horrendously outlandish, but still passed the muster of all these different things. And then I think New Peer Review, which is this Twitter that tweets out these totally insane academic papers, they started digging around the people, and they noticed that the names that they were using weren't real names. So the 3, Pluckrose, Bogosian, and Lindsay, they came out of I don't know if it's a closet, so much as I guess a dressing room. They came out of some sort of telephone booth. It's so difficult to find privacy nowadays because, we don't have telephone booths. But they came out of the closet and they're like, this is us. And since then, very recently, Peter Bogosian, who's a professor at the PSU, Portland State University, he has been reprimanded by an ethics committee. I don't know all the proper terms, but he was reprimanded by an ethics committee because he didn't ask for permission from these human subjects, which would be the reviewers of these articles and the publishers of these articles. The publishers, the reviewers, the editors of these magazines, of these journals should have been asked for permission to be hoaxed, or at least that's what the ethics committee has said, that Peter Bogosian has failed in his scholarly manliness, or whatever the right term is, professionalism. He's failed in his professionalism as a scholar, as an academic, as a professor, by playing mean tricks on people. Anyways, where was I going with that? Okay, well, hubris, sorry to interrupt Graham. Graham's an awesome guy. Graham's an awesome guy. We're going to talk again. We're going to talk again about free speech. We're going to talk again about Gamergate. He has a very strong opinion on Gamergate. I think I have a totally different vision of what Gamergate is than him, so I need to do some research. I also have a professor I actually have a journalist who was involved in Gamergate who I'll be interviewing in a few days. Anyways, I want to wrap this up. So, Brett and Heather and Mike Nina, who's the filmmaker who's filming the Pluckrose, Lindsay, and Bogosian, Mike Nina met up with Heather and Brett, and he did a video that's very similar to the video that I'm still working on because I keep on getting distracted and I'm waiting for more material. Anyway, so he put out today the first part of a 2-part, I believe, film or documentary about the Evergreen situation, with interviews with Brett and Heather and some footage from the Evergreen State College. So you guys should check that out. Maybe I could find the link, but if I press this, okay, no, we're safe then. So let's find the link, and I'll put that link somewhere. What's it called? Oh, I can just go Part 1, Equity Council. Part 1, Weinstein, Heying, Equity Council. So anyways, after this introduction, you guys just go ahead and ask me some questions, and I will get to you, right back to you. Let's look for videos. I'm just looking for a link. Just looking for a link. Just looking for a link. Wow. Weinstein. Weinstein. Okay, here we are. So let's, no. Okay, this is going to start playing automatically. And I'm going to go to share. Yep, I knew you were going to do that, and I told you not to do that. I get really angry at things sometimes. Inanimate things that don't do what I want to what I say. So here's the link. I'll put the link in the description of the live stream. Actually, I kind of just want to riff, so I kind of want this just to be live because something else has happened to me. Something I've entered into very interesting territory. Yeah, I do guys want to show you this. So I've been speaking with feminists. I've been speaking with trans folk. I've been speaking and I've been entering into the feminist domain. And getting in contact, and I'm trying to have good faith discussions with feminists, and I know it's possible. It's absolutely, utterly possible. The thing is that the dialogue between feminism and masculinism, it's been stuck for a very long time. And if you look at it, if you look at what is going on in there, it's just the same phrases over and over and over again. And there's got to be a reality or a meaning or a nuance behind those phrases, but we have to engage in good faith in order to get to that point. We have to overcome the barriers in communication between feminism and all the people who are in feminism. There's a lot of different people, and the people who are not in feminism. The Menonists. Why are men so majorist, though? We're like majora Menonists. I don't know. Anyway, so entering into this is a very difficult, slow, patient process of relating to people who, you know, in my past videos, I've been critical of feminism. I'm still critical. I was critical of the Gillette ad, right? I was very critical of the Gillette ad for a number of different reasons. I tried to be reasonable. I tried to go down the line. I could have done more talking about positive masculinity. Maybe we can chat about positive masculinity if you guys want me to chat about positive masculinity. I'd rather not chat about it. I would rather just exude my positive ions of manliness, but, you know, we can actually talk about it. Anyways, so entering into this discussion is difficult. To have people on my channel who are feminists is difficult because I've curated a marginally, nominally, at least feminist skeptic, if not anti-feminist crowd, right? I've curated that audience by being feminist skeptical, right? So to introduce these people who to you guys, it's going to be difficult, and I want to take it slow and stuff, and that's one thing. It's like, okay, how do I get guests on my show who will be able to be comfortable speaking with me at length when down below us are all these comments tearing people apart and being rather aggressive? Anyways, that's one thing. The second thing is, once I start talking to feminists start listening to me. And then they start going after me, because before that I was just in my own little bubble. Now I'm on their freaking radar. And that's the weird thing with this whole Twitter thing. Now I'm on the radar of certain people who are pretty intense, pretty obsessive. They have some pretty strong opinions. And if you go over the line, if you repeat certain words or certain phrases, they will go after you. So there's this one person, let me just find it and then I'll share it with you guys. While I do this, I'm going to put Chris Fusco's quote on the line. I only read half of it, but it sounded like a really good thought, so I'll let you guys read that for just a sec while I look for this tweet. Where is it? Somebody's now chopping little bits of my video up and posting them online. It was yesterday, so unfortunately, yeah, I muted the person because they kept on just taking 2 seconds. Oh, here we are. They kept on taking 2 seconds out of my the 2 seconds out of my videos and saying how bad and awful I was. So let me show you this. So how do I do this? So wait, you go. No, just that. Okay. So for whatever reason, this person is literally at gender critical, which is awesome that they got this this actual tag, gender critical. Anyway, so in which you can hear Benjamin Boyce commenting on Gillette ad saying the same old sexist trope, women ask for it. I said specifically, I'm not saying, I said specifically. I said it twice. I'm not saying women are asking for it. because they literally wear shorts in the street and a bikini on the beach, and men cannot catcall, quote unquote, naked women. This guy calls himself reasonable. Anyways, so I knew you're just not supposed to say this. You're not supposed to ever intimate that a woman is responsible for her appearance. You should never, ever say that a woman has a certain sort of responsibility in the way that she presents herself, and at least not the actions. I'm not saying the actions, but if a woman appears in a certain way, that appearance has a certain significance. And to ignore that fact for the sake of trying to get men to be more responsible, that's two different discussions. Men, be responsible. Men, control yourselves. Absolutely. But you are not allowed. You're supposed to completely ignore the fact that the way that a woman presents herself has any sort of significance other than the woman's sense of self. It's a completely narcissistic thing. Either that or she's forced to act this way by the patriarchy, right? So that's a formula. And I can't abide by that. I can go along with the niceties of that thing and like, why would a woman dress like this? And why would, in what culture does sexuality, every culture has a different sort of sexuality or sexiness, that's all culturally dependent and stuff like that. I get that men can be rather aggressive. I get that. I'm not for that at all. I'm just trying to say that completely stripping the woman of the agency of choosing how she presents herself it's either insulting to the woman's ability to be aware of the significance of her appearance or her ability to be to choose and to modify herself for certain reasons. You're just supposed to say that there's no other reason than that she feels that she has to. Like you're saying that she's either ignorant or manipulative. Right? And there's a whole other discussion about how men view women, how men treat women, how men approach women. That's a whole different discussion. But we need to have both of those things going on. We need to be completely honest if we're going to be honest about this stuff, right? And I get sick of the dishonesty. I get sick of the covering that up. And again, this is just a live stream. I'm going to take it down because I'm trying to build inroads with this argument, with feminism and stuff. But at the same time, you're going to run into unreasonable people, and that's kind of nice to be taken out of context. And I'll shut that off now because I already feel I've been talking into the camera the whole time, and you guys haven't been able to see my face, have you? Damn it, I am such a live stream noob. Okay, I was just talking to you guys in the camera. And when I talk into the camera, I have such a sincere face, don't I? Yep. Killer Baby says, it doesn't matter what you actually said. It is what they hear you say. Anyways, so I just wanted to make an overture that I'm trying to build bridges. I'm trying to really build bridges. And I have some material in the wings that's going to be very challenging to a lot of my audience, but we're going to go through it. We're going to go through this. We're going to try this out. I'm going to be the evergreen student that Evergreen wanted but never wanted. Speaking across significant differences. Oh, look, a female supremacist. All right, so Sandy Manuel, I want to objectify you so hard until all the grains in my table are smooth, like a pane of glass. Oh, you Sandy Manuel. Anyway, so this is like loosey-goosey. You guys just asked me questions. This lovely person, furthermore, ASMR. She writes, hold on. Don't be afraid, boys. Can you guys hear that? How do you do loudmouth ASMR? Don't be afraid, boys. Anyways, that's my attempt. I have I posted Grand Linehan. I had two fascinating discussions with Jane Claire Jones, a feminist professor in England. These 4 hours of material. It's a fascinating ride through feminist theory, feminist thought, and we get into the Gillette commercial. I will be publishing that hopefully tomorrow. I think it's very informative. It's kind of long. I probably should edit it down. I don't know, but it's an important part of the discussion. And she said something nice to me. I guess she said something nice to me. She said, "You were defensive in a very helpful way." I was engaging with her ideas. Actually, I was disagreeing with her ideas, but she construes that as I shouldn't talk negative. She said I was defensive in a helpful way. I was just arguing ideas. I was checking her ideas, but I was doing it in such a way that I wasn't shutting conversation down, that she was making progress. She felt like she was making progress, and I critiqued that. I said, you know what, with the Gillette commercial, one of the things, I don't know if anybody's talked about, one of the things that I thought talking to her, I'm like, okay, yeah, the Gillette commercial had a negative feedback. And it seems like the feminist community is like, look, every time we try to criticize men, they have huge meltdowns and they get really defensive, and it's all about their feelings, right? And we're trying to get past that. Like, we're trying to get past that defensiveness. I'm like, maybe the way that you're talking to men isn't working. Maybe people don't like condescending, judgmental authoritarians. Like, the thing is that there are some great ideas. There's some great critiques. There is some truth in feminism. The way that it's been conveyed popularly has been a failure. It's been a failure. It will continue to be a failure. So there needs to be some sort of engagement, critical engagement with the mode of communication, and as well as critical engagement of the ideas too. Here, I'm taking a break. I don't know what this is. Have I watched the Adam Curtis documentaries? I haven't done that, but like, furthermore, ASMR. Thanks for the soft whisper. Nice. Hey, Joe. How you doing? Again, this is just like me ranting at the screen at those 42 times 2 eyes looking at me, unless some of you are only one-eyed, unless I have some Cyclops followers. But I'm just rambling. You guys asked me a question. Oh, okay. But was the Gillette ad created by men? I found an article by the person who is the CEO of the ad company that works with Gillette, and she actually, let me see if I can find it. Was that email? I think it was email. Or it was... hold on just a sec. I'm trying to find this article where, oh, here we go. I'm going to quote it. Debbie Rayner, you can look this up on digiday.com. Debbie Rayner, who's the CEO of Gray Advertising, talking about working on the Gillette account. Quote, "When I went to work on Gillette, I was the only woman in the room. And there was a sports conversation, and I was clueless. I used to be in a room of women and beauty. And now I was in a room of dudes talking football. There was so much fun to be had at my expense. It wasn't great, but it's also what I expected." So this woman goes into a room filled with men and perceives her not getting along with the men as the men having fun at her expense. I don't know. That was like one quote in her article and stuff. So you can take that as you will, but there is one little image. There's one little image, the mansplaining section of the Gillette ad, where this man leans over a woman and says actually what she really means to say. And there's that look of distraught face of the woman just like so like disempowered, right? And again, I understand that there's phenomena of rudeness. I understand that there's phenomena of aggression. That's one thing. We should be aware that all of us have the capacity to be judgmental pricks and assholes and woofy dogs on the street chasing down the tail. Absolutely. I do not countenance that behavior in myself. And I really don't think that that's a good way for society to run. I think that people should be responsible for their actions, be respectful to human beings on a human individual basis. And that's the one thing about the Gillette ad that's kind of ironic, right? It's like you're taking the bad deeds of one subset of one group, construing that whole group, defining that whole group by the subset, and then talking to that whole group as though they are that one subset. Which is sexist, right? It's totally sexist. That's the funny thing about it. And maybe we should just stop talking about this stupid ass ad. I don't even use a razor. I have like an electric shaver with like a 10-hour battery life. I have not plugged this thing in since August. It's amazing. and it makes these really smooth patches on my face where I apply the correct blade. It's really wonderful, and it keeps me all there like that, and I don't have to do the shavy thing. I don't look good without the facial hair. I look like a pudgy, like extruded, like boyhood. But like a 40-year-old boyhood. It's really disconcerting. I feel like I'm something from a diesel ad, right? I feel like I don't look quite human. So I need a little bit of that shadow, I need a little bit of that heft, that gruft. One more thing. Somebody asked me a question on Twitter. I know it's so rude. It's so rude that I'm looking at my phone while you're listening to me. Somebody asked me on a question on Twitter, and I will pause on that. I'm going to look through the chat. We have a Hebrew spelling contest winner. Amazing. How do you spell Shekinah in Hebrew? Are you able to put that in the chat? Does my chat have Hebrew functionality? That'd be cool. I love the Shekinah. Speaking of Shekinah, I hate shaving, says Joe. Let's do it ASMR style. Smile style. I hate shaving, but hate having a scruffy face more. That's so manly of you. So manly and sensitive. Like a true modern man. We're sensitive. We all have pedicures on our mandibles. Oh, cool! Look at that! There's one question mark. Shekinah. That looks correct to me. I studied the Kabbalah like 20 years ago, so I have some of the letters. I know the first one is Shen, the first one being the last one. The second one looks like Gemel? Shekinah? Shek? Maybe that's a K. And the last one is an H. Shekinah. Anyways, that's awesome. Thanks, Ryan Matthews. And here's for whatever anybody wants to know how the Latin typers type it. Una, whose name I need to hear before I want to say it out loud. She says Shekinah. I don't even know what that means. Glory of the Snow says soy boy casting call with violets or lilies of the valley in their avatar. I like that. I like that dissonance. I don't know. I'm totally just blowing off steam. Like I said, I have like 9 interviews in 7 days. I'm right in the middle of that. I have so much information inside of me, and I needed to get out. And I feel a little lonely if I don't contact you guys every once in a while. Maybe I should have Alsvoid on. You guys think I should see if Alsvoid wants to join? Let me see if Alsvoid wants to join. Sorry, this is so rude. I'm looking at my phone. Well, Skype if you want to live stream for 10 minutes. All right, there we go. We'll see if Alcy shows up. She got more homework assigned to him. Oh, look at this. Okay, so we're going back to Hebrew Spelling Club with Benjamin Boyce. Okay, so this is the Hebrew letters, and then here's the translation. Shin, Kuf, Ein, An, Nun, Hey. Hey. I always thought Hey was spelled H-E-H, but it doesn't matter, right? Alsvoid's like the easiest one for me to contact. One Dust Branch says, or asks, is Alsvoid just our go-to female co-host? Are you assuming that I'm a part of you? Are we all one? This is the we that we've been looking for. We are the we that we've been looking for. Isn't that nice to know? And is Alsvoid our go-to female co-host? She's the one who I can just chat with and that I have like chatty time with, and I know that she's usually around her computer at this time of night. So maybe that's all it takes to get her on the stream. Plus, she knows how to talk. Una Voluspa asked me my beer, and it's the same old Fremont Ale. Interbraten. It's a very bitter hops tasting thing. Here's a question, finally. Okay. I'm going to read this in the whisper tone. Furthermore, ASMR says, what do you think about the APA recently designating toxic masculinity as a mental disorder? I'll translate that into human speak. What do you think about the APA recently designating toxic masculinity, quote unquote, as a mental disorder? Do you think this will lead to abuse by doctors and deranged parents in the mental health field? To translate that again into normal level human speaking code, do you think this will lead to abuse by doctors and deranged parents in the mental health field? I've read this APA. I read about half of it. You guys all should read it. I interviewed today a wonderful freaking psychologist. I'm so excited to get this episode out. He is so freaking brilliant. His name's Dr. Oren Amate. You can find him on Twitter at Doc Amate. I'll write that into the thingy here. So Doc Amate. Amate. He's a wonderful man. He's actually, apparently, he's been watching me for a while, since my Evergreen days. And he is a psychologist, and I asked him about this. We didn't have time to get into this, so I'm going to have him on my show again, and we're going to get into this, because he thinks that certainly this is going to spell trouble. That this APA guidelines for men and boys is going to spell trouble. The only thing that I gleaned from it, reading it so far, is that they only define masculinity in the negative. There's no solid, positive definition of masculinity. There's only negative or ideological masculinities, right? It's built around this hollow box where this positive definition of what a man is, and that is not there. It's a bunch of negativity. Dr. Amate said that 80% of psychologists are females. 80% of psychologists are females. So if this is the guide that is ideologically driven, that props itself up on projections of patriarchy, what is this going to do over time? Furthermore, he said that there's a high likelihood that in a divorce settlement, that this stuff will be used to assess the negativity or the toxicity of the father. That this will have a negative impact on if the father can be around his children or not, because it can construe just normal roughhousing behavior as abuse, or normal, like, toughen up kid, pain is just the weakness leaving your body sort of stuff as abuse. Now, is that stuff totally abuse? No, it's not totally abuse. Is it always proper to have that rigid sort of relationship with the children? No, that's not proper. But you need a balance between the yin and the yang. And the yang is getting schlanged right now by these huge institutions. So, while I'm trying to make inroads with femininity, or with feminism, and feminism needs help right now because of the trans stuff. The trans stuff it's not about trans individuals, it's about the radical trans rights stuff. The problem with that stuff is all based on queer theory, which is this weird kind of power postmodern dynamic. It's weird stuff, right? Like Graham Linehan said today, yeah, it's really weird stuff, right? So we have that going on. Like, women are saying, okay, no, there needs to be some sort of reality. There's these huge organizations that want to start destabilizing our society by attacking manhood, by attacking masculinity. So we need to have dialogue, specifically with very thoughtful women, right? We need to build inroads. We need to build coalitions of people who are willing to be honest with each other and take good, hard looks at both sides of the issue, at the men's rights and the women's rights, and to enter into negotiations and to stop vilifying each other, because that vilification will only let the crazies win. The crazies, the ideologues, the people who are the ones that you do not want shaping society are going to get in there, because everybody's tossling. All the smart people are just, they're wasting their energy arguing over places where they're stuck, right? So we need to build and enter into places where we can unstick the discourse before the discourse is taken over by a bunch of authoritarian hotheads or hot air heads going forth. That's my rant. Schlanged. Or schlang it. Tracy Burnquist, are you talking about Dr. Amate? He's just a psychologist. I think he does some cognitive behavioral therapy. We didn't really get into that. We spoke about, and I'm so excited for this episode because we really speak about like social media and how social media feeds into negative psychosis or unhealthy psychological behavior. It lifts up narcissists. I took a bunch of notes. I can't remember all this stuff. It lifts up narcissists, sociopaths, and borderline personalities are all given a feedback loop in social media that actually amplifies all of their disorders and actually goes through and evokes those disorders in a lot of people. So we talked about the proper way to be in the internet, like a better together is kind of like the title that I'm thinking. Dr. Amate and a better together online or something cheesy like that, right? He's a wonderful man. He has a lot of wisdom. And I'm totally blown away that he's been following me for so long. Phalanx chips in just to say nice things to me. Can't say, but keep up the good work. Thanks, Phalanx. Phalanx, I really appreciate. Okay, so this is a trick question. Ryan Matthews asks, do I think Linehan was a giant hypocrite in my interview? 1, I don't think he's a giant hypocrite. No, I don't. 2, I cannot talk negatively about my guests. I don't talk about my guests that way. You guys have to understand this. Like, I really don't, I really wish my audience wouldn't do this, but I can't control you. You know, you guys decide the level of argument that you want to have, but I'd rather talk about ideas. Now, a hypocrite is somebody who holds two positions that don't necessarily add up to each other. So I would rather approach the ideas and see if there's inconsistencies in his thought. Do I think he has those? I'm sure he does. We have not gotten into that. It takes me a while to really get into somebody, to establish a relationship, in order to approach contradictions without those contradictions being constricted around an attack or being constricted around me not seeing all the reasons why those contradictions exist, right? So it's important for me, and I appreciate the people who are on this channel who let me take my time with the guests and to really establish a relationship with the guests before like entering into that parlay of thoughts. But that sort of looking at somebody actually shuts down the discussion. That forms a break. And I'm sorry, that was a totally fair question. I'm not going after you at all. I'm just going after the question of calling somebody a name like hypocrite or bigot. That automatically shuts down the discourse. And we can't afford to be shutting down discourse anymore. We need to be making alliances. We need to be making alliances. Because these corporations and these crazy-ass idiots are going to become more and more in control of what's going on with this if we don't form alliances with those that we disagree with. We have to do that. So that's just one thing that personally I have to live up to and really avoid calling people names. Even though I can, every once in a while, I call somebody idiot, especially when I'm driving online. Especially when I'm driving. Did I say online? I don't drive online. I drive on the road. Rick. Rick pipes in. Rick's just north of me, somewhere. There's a lot of north to me. Sorry, Rick, I didn't mean to reveal your position. I don't think the way I did a couple years ago. Does that make me a hypocrite? Is there an age you have to lock in? That's interesting. I mean, like, contradictory opinions, people change, people are in flux, people go through certain sorts of reckonings with their belief system, and in order to really pay attention to where a belief system is weak, you need to not make the person defensive, right? And I'm not saying that Graham himself is in any state. I don't want to judge the guy. I want to have a good discussion with him. That's all I really want to have. And if we come across a part where I disagree with him, that's great. And I'll be better as I get to know him with expressing my disagreement. But, like, I am agreeable. I err on the side of agreeable. I think I already said this. I'm a very agreeable contrarian. Oh, I love whispering. Sorry if this is annoying you guys. Furthermore, ASMR says, the mannerly but intelligent way you conduct interviews, it makes them much more fruitful for thought, and it's more comfortable to listen to. Furthermore, ASMR, could you hit me up on Twitter? I'm sorry, I don't mean to be hitting on you. I wanna hear if you actually make ASMR. I'm curious as to the ASMR that you Merster say. Merster say? How do you participate in ASMR? What's the verb of ASMRing? That's all I was trying to say. So I want to hear your ASMR. Read like a SpongeBob SquarePants script. Close to the microphone with a bunch of like salty foam and water pouring over your hands. Okay. Oh. Okay, so Omar KM says, I didn't get a notification for the stream. Might be where there's so few of us. I don't know. I'm going through a third-party application for the stream, so I don't know where it came from. Ooh, this is interesting. Reed, nice wonder. Awesome fucking name. Ever heard of the conversational method street epistemology? It's really great at keeping defenses low. I have not heard of this. Can you link it to me? I guess you can't link it to me. I don't want to like platform you guys like, oh, okay, here we go. Ass smearing. Ass smearing? No! It's not ass smearing. I can't believe you made me say that out loud. Oh, ass smearing. Oh, no. Oh. Okay. Okay, here we go. Howard Schoonover says, sorry, ass smearing is so classic. Howard Schooner says, Benjamin A. Boyce, if the APA were to follow its own new guidelines, would have to abandon the idea that men are the primary aggressor. The Duluth model. See, I'm not prepared to talk about this. I did want to make a episode on this and just read it out there and tossle with it. But one, I don't think I'm prepared for this. Like, I don't know the field of psychology. So I have a psychologist friend who's close by I'm going to speak to with this. I have Dr. Amate online that I'm going to speak to with this. I'm going to try to get more psychologists. This is a big deal. This is a big deal. This APA guidelines for males, men and boys, it's going to be in effect for the next 10 years. It's valid for 10 years. It says that in the document. This is a big deal. It's something that we really need to look at carefully and you know, start to beat some drums about, or pots and pans. Right? So I'm not prepared to talk about it now. I just know it's funny business, but I don't know exactly how. So, sorry. At least I know how stupid I am. Isn't that refreshing? Oh, here we go. So John Duncan says to Further ASMR, Further ASMR, Twitter used to pride itself on free speech. Reddit used to have banners promoting them as a free speech site you were supposed to use to promote them. Internet sucks now. Oh, that's sad. That's the saddest ASMR I've ever made. The internet sucks now? What are you talking about? The internet is in peril. We need to make smart moves to save it. We need to make very smart moves to save it. Trolling is not going to save it. Making divisions is not going to save it. Pissing people off, only in a good way, is going to save it. Well, you know, it's not just free speech. Okay, so Nordry in EQNL, absent free speech, there is no solution. So I think that the free speech is not really a goal in and of itself. It's just like, it's an amoral thing. Okay, yeah, okay. The public square is open for anybody, right? That does not make a good society. There needs to be a back and a forth. So free speech is the entry, but that's not the goal. We cannot make free speech the goal. We need to be able to be free to be idiots, absolutely. But we don't want to just be idiots. Not at all. We want to have intelligent discourse within free speech. So there's the bubble of free speech. In that is intelligent discourse. And I think like even either around intelligent discourse or within intelligent discourse, like the core is relationships, is founding human relationships, complex, messy, wonderful human relationships. Without free speech, not a lot of that is possible. So yes, free speech is essential. It's not the goal. We need to not make that the goal. We need to make that the beginning, not the end. So that's the only thing I have to say about that. I don't know why I'm kind of passionate about that, but I think that we really need to move that a little bit forward, because a lot of people just use free speech as this kind of cipher for like, oh, you just want to go around harassing people. No. I mean, no, I don't want that. But in order for me to get what I need done, I need other people to be able to do that, so that we can examine the content of their character and see if we can't work through that character towards a better relationship between them, me, and everybody else, right? And if people are stifled and I can't locate them, I cannot engage with them in a positive manner. So I think I kind of botched that one. We'll see. Let me know. Oh, I got another Canadian. Wonderful Canadian. XXX Windsor. Could you tell me where you found me? I love that I have so many Canadians. I'm always curious where the Canadians come from, other than to the north. XXX Windsor says, now you know another reason why they want to increase immigration, since they will not be subjected to any new APA guidelines due to cultural sensitivity reasons. Interesting. Dicey stuff. Dicey stuff, that immigration argument. I'm really concerned with like the gender stuff right now, so I'm taking a break on the racial and cultural stuff, the multiculturalism and the racism stuff. I'm kind of just backing away from right now. I'm concentrating on trying to build bridges with women. With women, not just every woman. Every woman that's listening to me right now, you're accepted from this, because I've already made a bridge with you. But like with feminists, like trying to find, allies, right? Just within the whole gender war, so we can figure out what masculinity is and how it can just exist without being criticized as slandered or slanderous in and of itself. But that is causing me to look more at that than anything else. And I just don't have the energy to enter into racial or cultural discussion, multicultural discussions right now. I think that I'll just make a mixed step. Oh wait, okay, here we go. XS Windsor, you found me while trolling. Find my interviews fascinating. That's great. You guys like my interviews? It's great to be doing these interviews. It's good to find something that people like and that I like too. It's a godsend. Andrew S. says, Mike Nina is stealing my thunder. Your evergreen coverage can never be outdone. Still interesting seeing the grievance studies people with Eric and Heather. Or Brett and Heather, you mean. I guess he is. You know what? I do need to get this. I just need to finish this documentary. I need to get it out there. There's no real reason. And the longer I wait now, there's one thing I need. There's one thing I need, and then I have no more excuses. There's one thing that I need. But, it might be losing my thunder and stuff, but I might be maturing in a way that I can make it more of a accessible document. I don't know. I don't feel bad that other people are talking about this. I know Adam Carolla has a movie coming out about this, too, or like he has a movie about free speech on campus or whatever, Safe Spaces, I think it's called. And they did they have a 15-minute segment in that on Brett and Heather and stuff, and they asked for all my footage, and I'm like, I don't know about that, but I'll send you links. So I might get a credit, I might not, because the way they asked me for my material just seemed like they just wanted my material, and we'll give you a credit. I'm like, no, I don't think so. So I'll give you the links, and you can either give me a credit or not a credit. It doesn't really matter. Anyways, here she is. Is the full chat with Poe out yet? No, I have it on my hard drive. I'm really backed up. I'll upload it tonight, and I'll send you a secret link, Alice Void. But you should really just Skype in for 10 minutes and, let me listen to you instead of listening to myself. Let's see if Alice Void checks in. I think I turned off notifications anyway, so I don't know if she's going to show up or not. Oh, no, okay. If she shows up, we'll do that. Anyway, Space Battleship writes, the whole Gillette ad was manufactured outrage for viral marketing. They only virtue signal about something they don't have to lift a finger on. You won't see them talk about exploitation or pollution. That's an interesting concept. I mean, it's interesting pointing that out. Yeah, and they got phenomenal amount of press. Absolutely phenomenal amount of press. So good job, Gillette. We'll see what happens to their bottom line. One thing I thought about before I read it, this is one of the things, my independent idea that I didn't mention in the video, is like, who does most of the shopping? It's likely the woman. If there's a pair bond, it's likely that the woman's buying the razors. Likely. I don't mean to stereotype. I'm just saying demographically concerned, or demographically considered, the woman might be buying the shaving tools, and that ad was targeting the woman who's buying the shaving tools, right? That ad was targeting her rather than him. Am I really loud? Is somebody using caps, or am I being really loud? Why does it take one Canadian grad student to tell me my volume's off? Damn it, guys. I rely on you for so much, and you just let me yell into a microphone. Shit. Alswood, this was supposed to be an ASMR episode, but then I started talking about masculinity, and my toxic vocal cords took over. No, I don't really watch Roaming Millennials. Anyways, I turned down my volume. Sorry about that. I'm sorry if I was hurting you people. I'm sorry that was so gruff and that was so mean of me. Okay, so, and now she just tricked me. Elswood, I can't read you. I can't read your humor. I can only hear it. I'm like, I can auditorily sense you. I cannot sense you in print. That's my connection to you. Here we go. Sandy Manuel. It just sounds so erotic. Sandy Manuel says, Gillette's bottom line will be fine. I now hate the people involved in the ad, and they've contributed to societal division. So it's swings and roundabouts. I never heard that phrase before. Is swings and roundabouts the modern Chutes and Ladders? That's really interesting. I never heard that before. All right. Okay. Wait, no. It's not that I like to freak. Okay, Max Changer says Ben likes to freak out. It's not like I like to freak out. It's when I freak out, things happen, man. When I freak out, you never know what's going to come out. It's like the passion industry. Like I'm a product of passion. I'm a passionate product. That's what I'm selling you guys for ad space and Patreon bucks. Still haven't figured out what to do with my Patreon, but Subscribestar opened back up their payment system. So I don't know what to do with the whole payment thing. I really don't know what to do with the whole payment thing. I've been doing so much work that I'm not thinking about getting paid for it. So I think the work is more important than getting paid for the work. I think people understand that this is voluntary. There's tip jars. You can choose which tip jar you want to support. So I just want to say Subscribestar is back up again in a limited release, and they chose me for one. So if you guys do want to subscribe to me on a monthly basis, Subscribestar is there. Patreon's still there. I don't know what to do with that right now. And then there's PayPal Me, and then there's... I think there's another thing, but I can't think about it. I never think about the money. But I did want to say, if you guys are interested in supporting me through Subscribestar, that's up and running. Y'all toilets be talking shit says, don't studies show that women are more vindictive bullies on social media? I seem to recall coming across a study or two. But let's make it all about men, right? Toxic behavior, regardless of gender. If I was ever Lawrence Fishburne, that would be my Lawrence Fishburne voice. That's my Lawrence. Oh yeah, there's this wonderful lady person who keeps on sending me a hat. She keeps on sending me new hats. Like every couple weeks, I get a new hat. So we got this hat. I think it's supposed to be a piece of uh, uh, unicorn poop. I think this is unicorn poop, but I'm not really sure. It's really warm though. So that's the problem with like that's the negative aspect of like being passionate is that you start sweating in your hat. And then you have like this big sweaty patunda upon you. Just like hovering there. Logan Matthews. I just looked at your icon there. It looks like you're a guitarist. Alswoyd, you are biased. You're so biased against women. I bet your best friends, besides your best friends, are men. I bet only your real best friends are women. I bet that's how biased you are against men. Anyways, if Alswoyd doesn't get on, I'm jumping off this for 10 minutes. I think that I didn't say anything wrong, but I'm still going to keep this unlisted in the archive, in the playlist archive of archived live streams. I might even have to just take this offline because I don't know if I said anything that's going to ruin my chances to actually make headway with my great project of other things. One more thing. What's the one last thing that I can talk about? What's one more thing? Can you guys ask me a question about recent content or something that I should be focusing on? Can you guys make a statement of something that I should be aware of that I might not be aware of? I like to learn from you. I like to see more things. That would be helpful. I'm just looking through my phone to see if there's one more thing that I want to talk about. Like plucking butt hairs or something like that. The magic hat of gender fluidity. Ha ha ha. I bought my baby cousin this hat. Told her mom it was rainbow sherbet. LOL. I think it's unicorn poop. I don't know though. I don't know what it is. Geez. Okay, yeah, the Women's March is one thing to do. Oh, man. That's a cluster bucko. If you ever saw one, that's a totally cluster bucko. I am not ready to enter into the attention that would garner me, if it gets me any attention. This is the weird game with being an internet personality. You're completely irrelevant until you are. So it's like, okay, I'm doing something, and people are paying attention to me like me doing this thing, and you're like, okay, well, let's try this thing. All of a sudden, you're completely irrelevant. All of a sudden, you're like, I said that one thing, and now I'm dead in the water, and like all the battleships convene upon you, and you're like, so the game is to gradually get a large enough, stable base that will protect you from the oncoming storm. I do not think I'm ready to take on the Women's March. Though I do have a pink pussy hat around here somewhere. I don't think anybody's gotten in trouble. So Dust Branch asks, Boyce, has any recent guests gotten into trouble for talking to me lately? I don't think anybody's gotten into trouble talking to me that is worse than the trouble they've gotten into for talking, right? So there's these people that are getting in trouble for talking, and then they come and talk to me. So they just keep on talking. So they're already in trouble. I don't think I've boosted anybody's trouble by having them on my show. I don't think I'm that particularly that like a stain on anybody's character, but you might want to ask Alsvoid how many people call me beta cucks. Sorry, I didn't mean to pluralize myself. Ask Alsvoid how many people call me a beta cuck. That's dragging her down into the pit of like lonely babbleless live streams when she should be talking to somebody much grander than me, somebody much less beta than I. So I don't know. Maybe I'm destroying her cred. Anyways, one more. Okay. Further ASMR says, my mind is blank. There's a million things going on, and I can't think of one. Probably a blessing. There we go. Someone hit me up. Okay. Sandy Manuel, love that phrase. I know I'm mispronouncing your name, but it just like gives me shivers up my spine. Says, if Boyce did meme review, each meme review would last 10 minutes. I know. I'm horrible. I need to eventually I'm going to hire an editor, and then you guys just get like the little cool things that I do and don't have to suffer through all the other things. Okay. So Alswood's saying that basically I'm not a beta cuck. I'm a sterling example of a stallionous male trampling upon the plains of her intellectual discourse, because only one person in the entire of history has called me a beta cuck. I was just saying. It was just an example, Alswood. It was just an example. I'm totally calm. I'm totally calm. I'm not emasculated. I'm so sincere in the stalwartness of my strength and veracity as a man that I don't need to feel insecure about some random internet stranger telling you not to talk to me. Anyway, so Greg Wolf says, I like my lonely Babelous live streams. I like them too. Oddly enough, they make me feel less lonely. Super chat, and I think I'm going to wrap it up unless Alswood, you got 3 more minutes to jump on here. I got some New Zealand money. So Kiwi Bucks says from Space Battleship, I would really like to see an interview with the creator of Toxic Masculinity. I think she deserves an opportunity to explain the concept. I wonder who was the inventor of toxic masculinity. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know. It's just a catchy phrase. I don't even know. So that's a good question. So you guys all should prime for morning, because Alswood is like cozily snug in her comforting corner of the world, reviewing her grad school thesis for mistakes or weaknesses, and listening to us in the corner of her attention. That broad has got such a wide pan of attention, right? So there's attention span, how long you can pay attention to one thing, and then there's attention pan. I'm sorry I called you broad. That was the metaphor. I didn't mean to call you that. I'm just saying you have a broad attention. You have a great attention pan. You can pay attention to a lot. I can't believe I said that. I'm going to have to delete this stream. Oh my God. That was bad. Tracy Burnquist says, am I the only person here who finds the woman from the transploining video quite fetching? Transplaining. Oh. Kinesis. Asha. Yeah, she's awesome. You know, you talk to her and she's awesome too. We went out for drinks. We made a lot of bad puns. And I think I'll probably get kicked off Twitter if anybody ever finds them. I was just punning. There's some puns to be made with transition. You know, what do you call a gender reassignment factory? A transplant. Anyways. Okay, look at me. Apologizing is the baby behavior. We need a clever name for you and me if we continue doing these live streams. She is the broad, though. She's the thinnest broad you're ever going to trip over in your rush to get to the oxygen bar. Where are you guys at? Why are you guys in such a rush, and where are you going? Anyways, I should wrap up. I've already mourned for the loss of Alsvoid. I should go not smoke cigarettes because I don't smoke cigarettes. I also never use irony. But I think that's the last thing that we have. Oh yeah, further ASMR. This is the last thing, then we're closing it off. This is the last thing. Gonna go watch that Broad's videos next. LOL. So yeah. Alsvoid. Click on Alsvoid's little icon, and that should send you right to her channel. I'm going to give you guys 30 seconds of watching me drink a beer so you can click on Alsvoid's little icon and find her videos. Furthermore, yes, everybody follow Kinesis. I always misspell it. Kinesis is on Twitter as Kinesis, and Alsvoid is on Twitter as Alsvoid. So Go and follow them on that horrendously not free speech website that is still incredibly useful and functional. Have a good night. I don't smoke weed, but you go, Nigel. You all have a great night. And yeah, I guess I already said thank you. Good night. Find this archived in the hidden zone until I watch it and see how awful I was. Ciao.